Off by a mechanic. If you don't know what's under the hood of your car, here's your chance to learn for free if you are a woman. Here to tell us about Knowledge is Power, Car Care for Women is Terry Bias, owner of Valley Automotive on North Rancho, the one where I had to walk to because my cab wouldn't pick me up, and the host of this free class. Now, you've had the first one was in May, last month.
Right.
This is going to be the second one, but before we get to that, how long have you been in the car repair business?
34 years,
Right.
35 years going
Yeah,
on. Yep,
yeah.
long time.
Yeah, and so what made you decide to put this class together?
It's just a great thing. It's not been done before in Nevada, which is kind of strange. But for women, dispels a lot of myths, rumors, things they can do to protect themselves, just understand what's going on. It's just not as easy as we think it is,
Yeah.
just like in any business.
I learned a lot in that first class, and I'm taking the class again this year
Yes,
because there was so much
it was
information. It was a
great.
little overwhelming, and I just really wanted to understand. And how long is the class itself? And it's going to be held, of course, at your auto shop.
Right, at the shop. We were trying to do 3 hours. It seemed to be a bit overwhelming. There's just so much information. And even when
it went by so fast.
It did go fast. We're trying to just get more consumer awareness in without the technical experience.
And we had a nice little group of women, about, what, 12, 14 ladies showed up for the first class?
Yeah, we even
right?
had some bikers show up,
Right?
ladies that wanted to see what a car looked like, which was quite fun.
So the neat thing was you had a lot of displays that we could look at and the books that you handed out to help people really get a good idea of what they were looking at under the hood of cars, especially like new cars now.
Yeah, the new cars are quite amazing that they can even get all that in and drive down the road.
And I want to show part of that again too, that even after watching all of you break down all of the different components that go into the engine of the car,
Right.
and everything about that, the most amazing thing for me was to be taken out into the garage to actually get under the under a car and see what's going on.
Right. That's our world. We see it all the time. So just like here in the studio, doctors, things like that, we just take it for granted. So we're going to add more shop time to it, more real time looking at things, not so much to fix it, but to really get an idea, to understand if somebody says it's this component or that component, you get a feel for where it's at and why sometimes this labor could be so high and why it shouldn't be so high. And
Well, let's talk about that. That was one of my big takeaways. When you get that first, repair estimate, it's like, oh!
Oh, yes.
But what is the biggest component to that?
Well, a lot of it's labor. A lot of it's just the parts themselves. Gone are the days of the old Chevy 350s or $1,200. Today's engines are $3,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. It just depends on your make and model. So then you add the labor and where these components are tucked into.
Now talk about that, because that for me was the big aha. To get to maybe your water pump, what's entailed?
Well, we had a Volkswagen engine just recently, and literally half the car's got to come apart to get to it.
Wow.
And it would look like something from a bomb scene from Middle East. And once you're in there, you have to point out to the customers timing belts and other things that you should do because it's all torn apart.
Right.
And it's just cheaper to do it then. But it costs time and money. It's just, it always comes down to that. So we try to give some good education. Here's what you should do. Here's what we'd recommend doing. The wallet seems to justify what you can do, but don't come back a week later and say I'd like to do that now, because that labor, 10 hours, has got to go back into it. So it's just helping people make the right decisions, because without us, you really don't know what to do.
Right now that it's summertime, really quickly, what are the two, if you had to pick three things, what should people be concerned about?
Overheating is one of them. It's just crazy. The air conditioning is going to play a part on that. It puts a load on the engine, causes it to run hotter, and without the air conditioning, it's just miserable. And tires too. Tire safety, when it's cold outside, it's not so bad, but when it's hot, those tires get really overheated. If you've got any separation, any cord showing, they can explode on you at speed and no notice.
That's
really
not
whatsoever.
good.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Terry. Again, knowledge is power. Take charge of your vehicle. A free class for women being offered by Valley Automotive on North Rancho. This class, the second one, is this Saturday, June 27th from 9 to noon.